So we're doing this webinar as a follow-up to the Q&As for the MSF change that we've introduced. So we have introduced this some time ago, I think it was 4 months ago. But we know we've still had a couple more questions recently with that. So there will be an opportunity if you want to put any questions forward, feel free throughout the presentation. It's not a massive presentation because, in honesty, we've already done videos, we've done roadshows, Q&As, we've had calls. So I feel like we've covered an awful lot already. But yeah, this is an opportunity that if you've got any questions in particular, you can answer those, or we can arrange a call as well. So changes in the business. We talked about this at the event last time. Thank you. We are introducing an MSF. So if anybody joined us, I think it was March this year, after March, the MSF was already in the agreement, in the contract. And the idea really behind the MSF, most franchise businesses have MSFs. It's there to align the businesses to make sure that we can reinvest into the business. So obviously, we were finding ourselves in a position where we're driving a huge amount of traffic to deals, to opportunities, etc. And then, we're not able to grow that traffic because we're not benefiting from any of the sales or anything else that's taking place. So it's to align the goals, align the businesses with yourself, and enable us to reinvest, which those that came along to the roadshow will know where we've reinvested, how much we've reinvested, and what we're planning on in the future as well. How the MSF works, so ultimately it's on success. So it's 10% of income. So if you're doing property sourcing and you sell a deal and get £4,000 fee, then 10% of that is paid as MSF, so £400. If you're purchasing a property to retain, then it's 0.25% of the property purchase value. So if you're doing a terrace, as an example, at £50,000 that you're purchasing, then the fee would be £125. So I've seen lots of different calculations of people coming in that this is going to be thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds when purchasing a property. It's not. The reality of it is it's quite low, but it's enough to allow us to reinvest. Also, if you're doing a joint venture with somebody, then it's only on your share of the joint venture. So it's another benefit and way of looking at it. And what ultimately the MSF does is it gives you access to and the benefits, the enterprise system as well. So it gives you more options, more features, more benefits. It's there to help overall the business to drive forward and have that reinvestment. So it makes a lot of sense. For the people that made the effort to come along to the roadshow, we talked about this quite openly. We talked about why and what the benefits are and where the money's being invested, and everybody was quite happy. We didn't have any issues or problems. It was a nice opportunity to discuss it in a bit more detail. So if you decide not to proceed with the MSF, then all the franchise agreements that we have in place state that there are additional costs after 12 months. So if you're still within your 12 months of joining source, then these costs won't apply to you. But ultimately, we have them in the franchise agreement, which is linked to the manual. The operations manual gets updated and is added to the CRM system. There's an alert when the CRM system, is updated with documentation. So it's all there for everybody to review. That's £50 per month for the CRM and £150 per month for deal search and the mobile phone app. Now, I know one of the questions that we've been asked is this mandatory? Can I opt out to it? And the answer is yes, it's mandatory. It's allowing us to reinvest into the business to help people grow. It might be a case that you're not actually using the deal search right now, but you may use it in the future, or you may have another area. Well, we're still reinvesting in that area. I mean, if you look at the new people that we brought into the team, the new services, the new features, the new technology, this is all about us reinvesting and trying to help your businesses grow as well. So it's not a case where you can opt out of this simply. It's a case of this is tied into the agreement. We were very clear at the beginning that ultimately we would start charging for services after the 12 months. And that's where these charges have come from and have been implemented. So I hope that kind of clears up some of the questions that we've had. But in honesty, we have covered this now over the past 3 to 4 months through webinars, phone calls, emails, videos, a road show coming to your area. So it's a little bit disappointing if we're still getting people coming to us at this very last minute now to say, what is this and what, if you're having a break at the moment, or you're not as heavily involved in deal search at the moment as perhaps you plan on doing in the short term or in the future, then reach out to your BDM, as we've said consistently, and move over to the MSF functionality, and you won't have this extra £200 plus VAT charge per month. You'll only pay on success. Now, we've been saying this, again and again and again. For people that decide they'd like to move over, please reach out to your BDM. It's probably too late this month because we've already gone through the invoice cycle, but for next month, we can make sure then that you're not receiving these invoices and you're on the MSF, and there are other benefits to that and around that as well. So, but yeah, I just wanted to obviously reach out, make sure it's clear, because we're still getting very much the same questions that we've addressed in different manners, different and different. Sorry, I'm just. How's Emma only apply to future review? Yes, that's a really good question from Mike. Sorry, so thank you for putting that there, Mike. So yeah, so we've not done this so that we can be greedy and say, right, okay, you've built up a portfolio, or you've got a great business there. What we've basically said is, look, we're happy to put a side letter in place to say, if you've got any existing business or you've got an existing portfolio, this won't apply to that. It's about us having some common sense and saying, let's work together on this. This is about growing forward, and we want to make sure we're getting better leads, better quality, more of them, and being able to reinvest. But ultimately, we won't apply this to anything you've done previously. We're quite happy to put that in a side letter to say that, this or these properties or this will not be affected by this or be charged. So yeah, we have touched on that, but yeah, quite happy to put that in a side letter and make it very clear that, if you've already built up a buy-to-let portfolio, as I know, plenty of franchisees have, we're not looking to make money off the back of that. Ultimately, we're looking to help the business grow and reinvest in the future. Just see another Q&A pop up. Yeah, so somebody's saying about the version of the manual doesn't cover MSF. I'm not sure why you've not received that. I mean, it's on the CRM, but quite happy to get that sent over if you want to drop a copy, an email over to myself. My email's on the screen. Yeah, my email's on the screen. So ultimately, feel free to drop that, and I'll be able to answer that as well. I've been told this is mandatory, correct? Can you be clear on the 10% is only for deals sold via the app? No, that's not correct. So it's virtually impossible. So this is the same situation for any franchise business in the UK. What we've had from some franchisees is the query that, well, actually, if I upload a property on the app and I sell it, then yeah, I'll pay my 10%. But if I sell it on through an investor that I've met or networked, etc., then I shouldn't pay my 10%. And that's not the case. It's 10% across the board for income generated. It's impossible for us to tell where that investor has come from or how you've gained the knowledge to get that property. It's the same on all franchisees. Franchisors can't get into the structure of tracking the lead to say, well, this lead definitely didn't come from us. It's just not realistic or sensible. Ultimately, we're there to support and provide knowledge and training to help you. So, you should be applying that and be able to generate income off the back of that as well. So it's not just deals sold on the actual app, etc. Yeah. So we're not applying. Again, David, I can see obviously you're sending quite a few emails through. I best you through, sorry, apologies, about the 10% applies to my monthly rental income. I just mentioned earlier that it doesn't affect any previous steps or structures you've got in place. So we're quite happy to put a side letter in place for the agreement to cover that, which should answer those questions. The accountancy package. So Jonathan's just mentioned about the accountancy package. The letter states that there may be charged in the future. That's for additional services, Jonathan. So ultimately, feedback we've had from franchisees is they'd like VAT on there. They'd like PAYE, they'd like all these different services to be added, and ultimately they're a cost to us. So the service we're providing you now is included in the fee, in the MSF package. But, obviously, if we introduce additional services to it and you'd like to use them, then there will be a charge applied to that as well. Yeah, unrelated businesses. That's a good question. So obviously we've got some franchisees that have different businesses that are nothing to do with property or nothing. Well, which is absolutely fine. Obviously we're not looking to make money off other businesses. So, absolutely right there. We will ask that, you notify us. We'll add them to a side letter, and, that'll be covered. So it's not the case that we're looking to do that. So I hope that makes sense. For rent to rent, that's a good question. So it's net. So it's after the rental amount has been paid. So yeah, so we've asked for a copy of the contract and we do it off the back of that. So it's a good question. Hope that's answered there. Do you have to use our accountancy service? Yes, you do. We've brought this service in to help people. It's also to help us as well. It's got triggers in it that will help us identify if a franchisee is potentially struggling or needs some extra help in other areas. So we'll step in there. Now, that's not to say that we're not being sensible and realistic to think that, again, we know franchisees have several businesses and already have an accountant in place, sorry. So we are being sensible to say, look, what you can do is you can continue to use your accountant. We can download all the data and provide that data. And in effect, it should save you money because the accountant's not got to go through everything, but they can include it in their kind of group overview of your businesses. So, we are looking to work with people on that basis. But yeah, it is mandatory that you use the service. And it's a good service, ultimately, the SPV side of it in particular. There's going to be a lot of features on there that will help you as that service starts to grow as well. So hopefully I answered those questions. Thank you for those questions as well, guys. Yeah, I'm not really sure on the question that someone's put without a name. So side letter just states gross revenue in more generic. So ultimately, if there's something you want more particular or an explanation on, then feel free to reach out to the BDM or myself, and we're happy to look at it. We're trying to be sensible with it. But in the same way, obviously, we've got to make sure that both parties are covered. So yeah, so Patrick, we joined through existing companies and therefore pay with professional advisors. Why is it being forced upon us? So, as I've just mentioned, Patrick, so I don't like the idea that it's been forced upon you, but that's not our intentions. Ultimately, we're trying to provide a service that helps people, but it also helps us manage franchisees as well and look at triggers in terms of when we can help out more in the business, which way the business is going, and what we can do to help them throughout their journey. So it's not just a case of this is Big Brother and we're forcing you down this route, and it's certainly not the case that we're doing it to make income because we're not charging for it. We're doing it because we know there are bigger benefits to this for ourselves, the franchisees, ultimately. So that's why we're trying to put this in place and make it work. If there are anything in particular that you're unsure of, then again, feel free to drop me an email, or I'm happy to jump on a call. I've spoke to several franchisees. I've put my details out there a number of times to clarify any other questions. But yeah, it's feel free to reach out. So another question. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to read through the questions as I'm looking. Yeah, can we clarify that the MSF covers CRM phone app? It does state that. So if you are on the MSF agreement, which is what I think you're trying to say, sorry, Jonathan, is if you're on the MSF agreement, then it states that these additional costs are not payable. They're included in the package, basically, as are Escudo, Landy, and Enterprise as well. Can I change my contract and move from my current company to a new company created under Enterprise? Yeah, that's an option. We've had a couple of franchisees that have done that. So yeah, I'm happy to speak to you about that. again, reach out to the BDMs and we can get that put in place for you. No problem at all. If we buy a buy-to-let rental, are we looking for 10% of the income? The answer is no. So at the very beginning, I went through what the costs are if you're buying a property. So if you're buying a property at £50,000, you're paying 0.25% of the purchase price, which is about £125. You don't pay anything else on top of that. It's just a 0.25%. If you already own a property in a personal name and want to move it to a limited company, again, if you make us aware of that now, so we can add it to a side letter, then that's absolutely fine. We're not looking to just charge for previous works. If you don't agree with the changes, can I leave sourced? The answer is simply no. Ultimately, there's an agreement in place. We can sit down and talk about that agreement, but it's not a case where you can just say, well, I'm just walking away from this. It's stated in the agreement, it's part of our presentation that after 12 months we'll charge for services, and that's what we've been doing. Would commission be due on a building company such as a refurb company? No. Again, if you listed that company with us as a side letter, yeah, there's an option that if you wanted to buy out the contract, that is an option for franchisees that's in place for any franchise business ultimately. Enterprise is being charged at £29.99 per month to investors. To franchisees on the MSF, it's free of charge. MSF is only for limited companies that have signed source franchise contracts. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, yes, it is. Yeah, I think. Well, I think I understand your question there. Apologies. But yeah, ultimately, if you're already a franchisee with us, you can sign a side letter to amend that so that you have the access to these services and you pay the MSF, obviously when it's due. Or new franchisees join in automatically have the MSF built in. Yeah, I know there's a comment there about the phone app. We were told it was only payable when being used, but that's not in our presentation. That's not what's in our agreement. That's not what we've stated before. Yeah, if you purchase a buy-to-let, it's a good question. And you'll pay the 0.25% of the purchase price. You won't pay 10% of the rental income. No, you won't pay anything else on that property. That's it basically. I hope that's clarified that question for you. Yeah, if I'm a shareholder of multiple limited companies, we'll have to pay MSF on those. Ultimately, if they're involved in property investment and you've got a share, you'll pay the MSF on your share. But again, if they already own the properties or already own the portfolio, we would add that to the side letter. Nicholas, yeah, using free agent. I think you'll find it's very similar to what we're doing. So yeah, definitely worth having a demo and a chat with Molly. She'll be able to explain it, but a couple of people have said it's very similar to a couple of the packages out there. Who at Source is going to produce the side letter? So we have a compliance chap, Adrian. I mean, the side letters are generally reviewed by the solicitor, but in honesty, most of them are similar that people have asked for. So we can do that with for you. But again, it's through your BDM. So if you reach out to Rory or Matt, they'll be able to help you and assist you with that. And then we'll be able to produce a draft copy for you to review. Make sure you're happy with that as well. What happens if you purchase a property in an existing limited company? Yeah, if you purchase a property after the date you've signed for the MSF, then yes, the 0.25% will be payable on your share. If you already own the property, or to be fair, yeah, if you already own the property, then ultimately it would be in the side letter. Tail, so I'm just trying to get down to some of it. The MSF billing cycle is monthly in arrears. So we will start sharing that with you. And again, any queries or questions, feel free to reach out. Are there any other charges that are payable on the MSF contracts, apps, tools, etc.? There's not. I mean, it's fully broke down, to be fair, what's included in it and what's not. In the thing in the manual, which is on the CRM. But if you'd like a copy of it, feel free to drop me an email, and I'm happy to send that out to you as well. But yeah, there's not. It's ultimately it's generally the tools that we just talked about that you'll get access to. Our intention ultimately is to align with yourselves so that, if we can provide you more tools and more features and benefits and more leads, then you'll make more money. And that we get a 10% share of that, which helps us reinvest and continue to grow that side of the business, which I'd like to think a lot of people can see the sense in that. We're not just doing this simply to make money from nothing, or without your returns increasing. We're trying to build this so that you are getting a better service, better, more return on investment, etc., etc. So, and I think a lot of that's been proven in the investment that we've done this year so far with the team and the resources, etc., as well. So, yeah. Sorry, Patrick, just to confirm, yeah, if you are, and there's two questions there about the accounting software. So if you sign up to the MSF, it's free, enterprise is free, or you can use it as an investor, and it's £29.99 a month. So yeah, I think that's all the questions, guys, that I've answered. As I say, my email address is on the screen. Please feel free to reach out to me or the BDMs. We are very flexible. We are very open door. We're doing this for the right reason. We have spoken to the franchisees about this earlier in the year. It's not something we've just woke up and decided to implement. We are trying to do this in the right manner. We've put this across multiple mediums to share and have the opportunity to answer questions. And as I say, I'm always happy to jump on a call and speak to anybody and answer any questions. So I hope that's answered the questions. Yeah, if there are any queries, questions, reach out to us. And yeah, have a great day, guys. Enjoy it. Thank you very much. Take care.